I've been a firefighter for over 14 years, and now I'm facing termination because I refuse to compromise on my faith and the inalienable rights that have been endowed by our Creator. I took an oath. I solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of Virginia, and I affirmed that I would faithfully and impartially discharge the duties incumbent of a firefighter upon the best of my abilities. So help me God. That oath is apparently meaningless in the senior levels of Lynchburg's bureaucracy and to the majority on City Council. In January, a local LGBTQ+ rights group came after me for posting this cartoon on my Facebook page and literally ran a cyberbullying campaign against me for making a political statement on the basis of my religious beliefs. What's even worse is that Lynchburg's mayor, vice mayor, and interim city manager at the time all jumped on board at the opportunity to bully me right alongside these activists, and they conspired to destroy me, my family, and take away my livelihood and ability to put food on the table. They knew they couldn't come after me for posting a political cartoon, so on May 10th, I was suspended from duty for a 5-month witch hunt investigation to ensue. This is unheard of in the history of the city of Lynchburg. They had to employ deceit, lies, and literally make up false narratives for a justification to fire me. A deputy chief even employed racism in who he chose to interview of my subordinate employees, separating them by skin color. The opinion of white firefighters that worked underneath me weren't good enough to fit the narrative he was trying to establish from the onset. They even covered up what could have been considered an assault against me by another deputy chief on the job. All of this was because I publicly expressed my opposition to the Equality Act and transgender bathroom access policy changes because of the increased risk posed by predators that will be able to gain access to our sons' and daughters' restrooms under the veil of gender identity. My concerns were proven true as we learned in the last week that Loudoun County Public Schools had a father arrested at a school board meeting before he could provide public comment on how his daughter was raped in the school bathroom by a boy wearing a skirt. Their accusations against me are twofold. Half of the accusations are purely political and are actually an obvious attempt to make it look like my protected public expression of opinions somehow affected government operations. They did not. There has been no measurable impact in the city's ability to deliver services based on what I said. The other half of the accusations are built on lies. They launched a targeted and biased investigation into my workplace conduct where they failed to use due diligence in the investigation by focusing on interviewing hand-picked individuals who despise the political ideology embraced by freedom-loving Christian conservatives or who have an axe to grind against me for some reason or another that has nothing to do with my employment. I sued the city in April for their infringement on my free speech, right to free exercise, equal protection violations, and for senior leaders conspiring to violate my civil liberties. They knew this case had merit, which is why they launched a retaliatory investigation into my conduct to establish a fireable offense. There is not a single thread of evidence that supports poor job performance in their claims, and I have now learned that it was a biased investigation where the balance was tipped against me from the start. Unfortunately, because the city established that there may have been another reason to terminate me through their collaborative conspiracy, the federal judge ruled yesterday to deny our motion to prevent my termination, which is effective tomorrow. However, God is still good, because in his ruling, he indicated that I have a likelihood of success establishing that my expression was indeed protected speech. For every God-fearing, family-oriented, and freedom-loving American and Virginian employed in the public sector, it is critical that I win this fight. The fight against cancel culture and neo-communist censorship is much bigger than me. If they succeed, it will have a chilling effect on the public expression of political and religious ideals that many Christians and employees of government in Virginia and the United States hold dear. I cannot be more clear about this. The city of Lynchburg is looking to establish a precedent that silences the voices of public employees who are opposed to the totalitarian and Marxist takeover of our community government institutions. Under no circumstances can I allow these self-serving, power-hungry neo-communists that are trying to disrupt Judeo-Christian ideals and eliminate family values at the local community level, and neither can you. They are liars and they are cowards. I will not back down. One way or another, I will win this fight for the sake of my community. And if my termination stands after the city's grievance process, I will take a unique approach to solving these problems by running for City Council next year to begin removing anything that stands in the way of freedom and liberty in local government for the residents and employees of the public sector in Lynchburg, Virginia. General George Patton once said, "Moral courage is the most valuable and usually the most absent characteristic in men." As a Christian, husband, and father of 4 boys, I will never abandon my biblical and constitutional ideals by cowering to men or women who are absent of those characteristics and will do anything or say anything for their own selfish and power-hungry desires. This fight will not end overnight, but it stands to establish a First Amendment guarantee for workers and families supported by the public sector in this environment of bureaucratic censorship across the land. God has prepared me to endure this fight, and now I have a simple question for you. Will you join me in this fight? With the loss of my job and the certainty that the city of Lynchburg will deny me of unemployment benefits, I am asking for help from liberty-minded Americans who are willing to contribute what you are able to help me in this time of need to provide for my family while I search for another job and to be able to afford a legal team that will win this fight for freedom. But more importantly, I'm asking for your prayers so that the hand of God continues to guide me through this challenge to secure victory for His kingdom and future generations of Americans. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my message, and I thank all of you in advance for your prayers and support in this important battle. God bless you. God bless our nation.